I just realized my microphone was off. Alright guys, can you hear me now? Because I've just been talking to myself for about 3 minutes. I'm so sorry. Impromptu stream's never good. You don't do your checklist to make sure everything's working. Alright. Is the lip reading good, Jim? Can you read English and Japanese lip reading? Okay, in a nutshell, I said white is playing a Catalan, black played knight c6, which is very strange because you almost always want to play c5 against d4 openings. So I think black c6 knight is going to be a problem for them long term. I then said that black has this option to either take on c4, which they now have done, or they can just play bishop e7 just to castle and just kind of play a closed Catalan setup. Again though, knight c6 doesn't really work for anything specific, so I'm a little bit unsure what the plan was there. 聞こえるようになりました。ありがとうございます. I'm glad you can hear me now. I also said I'm going to talk a little bit slowly because I'm actually here to test out putting the YouTube chat into the stream, so I have to do a bit of work on OBS while I'm looking at the game. But thankfully my preview is working, so let me just get those arrows off the board. Here we go. Alright, you can see that black did indeed take proper stream or test. Transu, honestly, I think I'm going to go as long as I can, but there's only one game that I think I can stick around for at some point. As you can see, I'm actually in the traditional home of my in-laws in Japan now, so I understand. I would love for you to ping, but I can't promise I'm going to finish the whole game, so maybe let's not. I posted the link, so for the people who are awake, maybe it's okay. Okay, you are pinging. Okay, let's go for it. I'm going to be here as long as I can, but maybe at some point I'm going to have to go. I'm sharing this room with my wife, and maybe she's going to eventually want to come here and chill out, but until I have to stop, I'm happy to keep going for a while, so... Alright, white is thinking after black has taken their pawn. In the Catalan, this is either a long-term permanent sack with compensation, or it's not, because white can get the pawn back in various ways. There's a few ways they can go, and actually maybe I'll just draw some arrows quickly here. So queen c2 is one of the standard ways to attack this pawn. a4 at the start just to stop black from being able to protect it. Knight bd2 is one of the ways that you can attack it. There's also knight fd2, which prepares e4 immediately because it's also protected by the bishop. And this is one of the ways that black, in any kind of situation where it kind of looks like a queen's gambit accepted, white kind of looks to take control of the center with these two central pawns. Alright. But anyway, white goes ahead and castles, still perfectly fine. For a Catalan setup, it's a little bit like a system, like a London. You can basically play the first opening moves regardless of what black does, because the worst they can do normally is just to take your c-pawn, and that's one of the lines that you learn, is that you can drop the c-pawn and still be fine. Alright, so now, queen a... Okay, queen a... a4 is a move also. Normally you check the king, you can take the pawn. In this line, then obviously... And by the way, I think we're actually transposing it to a little bit of theory here, although I don't think h6 was heavy theory. This obviously also stops b5, which is the way that black would normally protect the pawn. One of the ways black can play here is they can play a6, and then even if queen takes, then they can play b5, and they can push the queen away, and they can fianchetto their dark square bishop behind their knight. In this case, because the knight is hanging though, that's a little bit tricky. In that line, the knight would just fall with check, so no good. Okay. Oh, goodness, alright. Sorry, apologies, gotta figure out some of my clothing while I'm sorting my things out here midstream as well. Hey, Chess Drummer, thanks for coming past, man. Oh, thanks, David. I appreciate it as well. I like talking about the openings because it helps me remember the things that I used to study. You know, there used to be a time when I think, like many of us, you get into it and you just spend like hours every week just studying openings, watching Feingold videos or something. I love those times. It was a great time, but yeah, I'm not doing those anymore. So if I can still remember some of the principles or some of the openings, obviously, that's real good. Hey, Vel, thanks for coming past, man. Okay, hang on. You guys are talking, so I have to put this chat into the stream now. I know that's you, Vel, because I think you actually came past on another screen briefly, so I remember your nick. H6 valuable tempo. I mean, it stops the pin on the f6 knight. I get that. I don't know if that's really so important because normally black is going to play bishop e7 anyway, and so there's no direct pin, and they can even just jump the knight and kind of force the trade, which white isn't unhappy to do, but I don't think there's any. I don't know. I didn't feel there was any massive danger with bishop g5 in this case. I think if I was black, I'd have just worked on castling so long. Yeah, guys, say hi to Val. He said he would come past and help us chat a bit, so please chat it up. Fabian, thank you very much for coming past, man. Hello. Okay, hang on 1 second. Before I get sidetracked by the game or the chat, I need to figure out... Oh, you guys need to forgive me. I actually think I have to go to the stream itself to pop out the chat. Oh, hang on, maybe I can do that from OBS. No, I don't think I can. That does not look like a useful menu. None of that is useful. Please giving me these options. Okay. White is thinking after rook b8. Okay, this obviously reinforces the b5 move again. Just to try and keep hold of this pawn. They can still take though, and then that knight would still be hanging, so I don't know how incredibly useful it was. The other move that's good for this is obviously it gets off the Catalan bishop's diagonal, which is a good thing for black to do in the long term, because that's one of the ways that white can really punish black on the queen side. It's basically the Catalan normally works with white kind of pushing on the queen side, or taking control of the center with these two central pawns. I have on occasion misremembered my theory and turned my Catalan into a king-side attack, but I don't think that's really the norm. Where's the stream sidekick? I have no sidekick today, guys. Actually, if you guys can see in the background, that is my grandfather-in-law. He's passed away now, but he actually built the house that I'm in here. I'm visiting my in-laws on an island here in Japan, so I guess I have fraternal backup at the back here, if that's the right word. Oh, you like guitars but not spiders? Fair enough, man. I don't know, you've got a different name here, so I'm happy to just call you Tress Drummer if you prefer that. But I really enjoyed your game the other day as well. I'm still getting completely sidetracked, but oh, man, how to do this? Okay, give me a second. I'm gonna look up what I want to do on my phone, because if I look it up on my computer, OBS is gonna catch the change. Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate it very much. Thanks. Oh, no worries. I never met him. He passed away a long time ago. But Grandma's still alive. Actually, she's 93. She's still kicking. She's actually preparing to make mochi. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but with New Year's, mochi is one of the traditional things that you make in Japan, and she's still keeping that tradition alive for the family here, so that's really cool. Yeah, he passed away long before I came past, actually. I think my wife also never met him. After his kids were born, so my mother-in-law and her siblings, then unfortunately he passed away, so he was long gone. But very interesting to learn about the family history. Way back they were actually in Tokyo, and then because of the war they came to this island here, and he like did boat building, and actually was that I have to double check this. Let's not get into it too deeply, because if I say something incorrect I'll feel a little bit embarrassed. We can talk about this again, because I'm going to be here for a few days, so I will stream from here again. Alright, and then just to say, white goes for this 95 move, very standard idea to unlock your bishop as well. In this case now, because the knight is pinned, you know, that's extra strong obviously, and even if you get b5 in, you're still going to drop here, which also attacks the queen. So not the worst, and also that knight will be protected, so even if the queen moves, you can move your queen and you'd be up a piece. So as I said, I feel like if this is a theory line, it's probably something that I haven't studied, but I think that we've gone a little bit off the theory. Maybe just by one, because I think h6 is not a specific theory move, but I'm sure it's in the opening book for sure. Okay, let's go back. I was still trying to get the chat up onto the stream. Hang on a second, guys. Add YouTube live chat to OBS. This is what I was trying to look up. Icon at top right corner, slick. Camera, slick, pop out chat, and 3 dots. Okay. I think I have to go to... Yeah, man, thanks. I'm happy to share a little bit. These things are interesting for me to share. You take on B, I think, with check. B5 with check. On B5 with check. Oh, cool. I'm not going to jump games because I'm trying to fix this. And the b5 check I don't quite see because it means the knight has to move first. So I'm assuming that's after a few things happened. But anyway, a little bit irrelevant. The light square bishop has jumped out. And no, what could be good here obviously is you could end up still winning a pawn here though. So this is still looking good for white. Take the knight with your knight, which also threatens the queen, right? So, and it's protected by your bishop. And if they trade with their pawn or their bishop, you can take again. And if they take, you can take again. And then it's check on c6, and you can still win the c pawn. So actually, this is looking pretty great for black, for white. Oh yeah, hang on. I think. Give me 1 second. I think I actually have to go to the stream itself now. You can actually see I've been watching a little bit of Catan. I really enjoy that as well. I was thinking about streaming it, but I need to maybe just get my game a little bit stronger before I stream it. Otherwise, people will basically just watch me get upset. Pop out chat. Here we go. Alright, alright, alright. Here we go. Hang on. Hold on just a minute. I think we got it. Okay. Still good. The Catlan strikes again. Yeah, I think this is looking pretty good for white, actually. Black, unfortunately, walked into what is apparently a little bit of prep. Or maybe because they misstepped somewhere, this line has become stronger than it should be, because white is... So the Catlan is, by definition, all zeros in every single line. Which, I mean, all openings are, but especially in the Catlan, I feel like, because I play it, basically you have to play your opening well, and black can just kind of do some basic moves, and you have to try find some way to like make some attack happen. Yeah, sorry, I inception there for a second because I needed to open up the stream, but I got it. Okay, hang on, I got it here. Alright, they take the... I don't think they should have taken the... Yeah, I had to pop out the chat because now I have to put that URL into something here I can dock inside the stream, but just to say, I don't think white should have taken the bishop first. I think that kind of makes a bit of a mess of the situation, because now the queen will defend the knight afterwards, which means your black brings a separate defender into the attack. So what white will now do is they won't win pawns with checks and stuff, but they'll be able to triple up black's pawns on the c-file. Which I actually had a game like that in my Kyoto series, which I posted on the channel as well. Shout out to Meekly Dims for making some super good thumbnails for that. And I also, actually, black just went super wrong way at the start of the game, and I also got to triple up their c-pawns. But I had the queens on the board for a while at least, whereas here in that line, the queens just come off immediately. Alternatively, actually what I would do if I was black here is I would take with my knight, and screw the pawn, lose it, it's fine, but keep the queens up. And also, what this does is it would make white spend their light square bishop, which is a little bit better obviously because they've got some error on their king on the light squares. Yeah, I mean it's not bad, but I think white's line taking the knight looked a lot stronger to me than just getting the bishop pair. Like, this is fine, white is still clearly, you know, in a better position, but not so strong. And also, I don't know if anyone else knows this right now, b5 still works, but I guess you can take them f6 then with check, and then you could... yeah, okay, never mind, b5 doesn't work. I'm talking shit. Okay, hang on, let me read here quickly. So I opened up, pop out the no, this doesn't look right. Sources, add a browser, replace the URL with the chat. Okay, we got it. Okay, I think there might be still 3 isolated black pawns. Yeah, yeah, Fabian, as you say, I think white can still end up tripling the pawns, but in the other line, I think they just won the pawns outright, which felt a little bit stronger. Because they've already castled, I don't think they have any big worry of giving black like a tempo or something. Okay, but I think I know what to do, so let me just quickly copy this. Okay, you can see my pointer running around when I select it, but it's not right. Okay, and then I add a source browser, and okay, now hang on, that's called okay, and I add in the URL, and it works, but it's very ugly. It's literally just the actual chat box, and it's incredibly in the way. Okay, yeah, black did take back the way I thought that I would have taken if I was them, because then at least white has to spend their light square bishop. Okay, this, I would call this a mediocre success. David, thanks for coming past, man. Yeah, please come past for future streams. I'm not the only one streaming, by the way. There are some others also doing it, so you guys for sure need to get involved a bit more. Yeah, sorry, the OPS pop-up. I don't know, so I can do like this. I can put it over the spectator chat, for instance. This feels to me like half a win. It's not exactly what I wanted to do. It's clearly not the right setting, right? Because normally just the chat comes up, and this is my actual chat window. So I wonder if I type here, do you see actually me typing on this side as well? A, B, C, test, test. You don't. Okay, so you can't see the actual chat box I use, but yeah, okay. Alright, what do you think? Yay or nay? Is this worth keeping, or should we just get rid of it? I don't know if this is really worth it. I will. Yeah, I will indeed. Okay, yeah, let me know. I'm gonna keep it on for a few minutes. We can see how we feel about it. I'm not super excited about how it looks, to be honest. This is not what I was hoping it would be, and I don't know if I can change it right now, so we will have to go back and research just some more. In the meantime, black did take with the knight, which I thought I would do as well. White did end up taking. It is still, you know, a pawn structure win. And they decided to take the forward pawn with their queen instead of the back pawn. Yeah, I mean, I can understand it here. Obviously, there was a way for black to win a tempo on their queen. So fair, that makes sense. So, you know, white's a bit better. Black's got isolated pawns, doubled pawns. But the actual kind of primary material is still equal, so I wouldn't say it's a massive disaster. C5 trying to liquidate one of their front pawns, not bad. Also here, I think if white decided to play d5, they could have jumped their knight to hit the queen and then take the pawn as well. But okay, white just liquidates. I take with the bishop, open up the king for a castle. Looks pretty good. Actually, yeah, now white's actually not even up anything except the pawn structure. Black's got a bit more activity. They've got an active rook down the b file. It's over here. So that's never bad. Actually, I'm surprised sometimes how much active rooks down a half open file matter. Because in some lines, for instance, for you who play the London would probably know this, right? But if you play your dark square bishop up and then back here, and then okay, so and then they oppose it, but then you put it back on g3. So if they take, you can take with your h pawn. Then you get a half open file here in some lines, which you know could be good. So I wouldn't overvalue white's advantage here. The other thing obviously is they have castled and they've got their queen out, but the rest of their pieces are kind of sitting back home, falling asleep a tiny bit. So I would say, I don't know, what do you call this? +9? You've got a pawn, but black's got a bit more activity. I don't think you're winning because of the isolated pawns just yet. Yeah. Okay, I don't like it. You don't like it? Okay, cool. Okay, so Spider, you're also not a fan of the chat. I gotta say, yeah, it's not the kind of chat box I was hoping for. So, unfortunately, OBS doesn't. So basically, what I did is I literally just popped out the YouTube chat as if I'm watching it. So all of you can do the same. You can pop out the chat and put it in a separate box. I did that, and then I took the URL and I just dropped it into a browser input into OBS. So there's no tweaking it, there's no adjusting the content and the look or the layout. It's literally just taking the YouTube live pop-out box and putting it into the stream. And I'd call it a bit of a failure, I don't know. There is a delay. I gotta say, I'm not sure if I set that delay up or if it's standard, but there's also a setting somewhere where I set how much the delay is, so it might be that I set the delay a little bit too long for this kind of thing. You'd probably want your chat to come up a bit sooner, right? Otherwise it feels rather silly. Yeah, it's a bit distracting. Okay, transit, fair enough. C5, that just got played, Fabian, that's good. This is not so bad for black, even though it could have been... Yeah, no, I actually think that white maybe misplayed the advantage they had here a little bit. It's not the worst. You know, there's certainly something happening, and so here this is a great move for white, obviously. Black can't castle because the H-pawn will fall with the mate threat. That's a pretty good find, obviously. Queen F6 defends the pawn, and also that means after they castle, the H-pawn will be defended. Alright, should we call it on this chat box? I think this was unfortunately not great. Delay test. Yeah, okay, you can test. Omar, what do you say? I tried to pronounce your surname last time, and I said Omar Tabach or Omar Tabak or Omar Tabach. It was definitely not. There's no chi in there, I'm sure. So please tell me how to pronounce your surname. I'm really curious. Delayed is not delayed. So what? It came up instantly on your side? Drummer, how long was that delay that you saw? I'm kind of curious to know. And also, yeah, okay, let's just leave it at that for now. Okay, I'm gonna kill this chat in a little bit. I'm gonna leave it up for a bit just because it's something new, but I think the general consensus is it's not the prettiest and it's kind of distracting. So yeah, it's delayed for you on the output. Yeah, so seeing it, right? That's fair enough. Tabak, tabach. Is it a ch or a k? Shit, I don't know if my first attempt was. It was the technical chat box explaining that baffled me. All right, sorry. Yeah, I mean, I guess if you're not caring to learn about this stuff, that doesn't matter. Apologies. It is delayed. Okay, cool enough. Fair enough. Then it is delayed, and we don't like it so much. 12 seconds delay for you. 12 seconds seems like a lot. No, okay, that's not it. Oh, Hebrew, cool. So I'm guessing, are you either Middle Eastern by heritage or actual living situation? I mean, with a name like Omar, because I know Omar. I think I've heard of Omar. Omer, I don't know. I don't know if that's the way to pronounce it either. Sorry, I'm butchering, some serious international like butchering going on about here. 20 seconds. All right. Okay, yeah, it is delayed. I've got a setting somewhere in terms of stream delay I can put up as well. Which I don't know. Stream appearance, no. Output, no. I think honestly, I think I set the delay when I started the stream. So we'll just leave it a black day. Shut up now. All good. We've got the point, and I appreciate everyone kind of helping out to get it sorted. This has all been kind of like an ongoing attempt, right? So anytime the stream improves, it's basically because everyone else went, hey, do this. So much appreciated. The Tabach tentative could easily become a meme. Yeah, fair enough. Omar is Hebrew. Okay, cool. Don't sort it that I'm pronouncing Japanese, do I? No, but I mean, I'm also not Japanese, so I wouldn't be too worried if you did. Okay, shall we get back to the game? I've been talking a whole lot of unrelated chess stuff, so I'll just close up this chess box on my side. Let's see what's happened in the last few moves. Alright, so yeah, here I think white should have taken here, and then either way, I guess, no, it doesn't matter how they take. You can take again, and if they take, you take again, and then they can jump their knight, or they can trade the queens. Jump the knight, you win this pawn as well. And then they would have c5 anyway, so I guess it's similar, but you don't. No, actually, it's almost identical. No, you go up. You go up one more pawn, or a queen trade with two isolated pawns. I think also pretty okay. But anyway, white took the bishop first, and then took front into the front pawn. Black liquidated their front pawn. White found a nice little threat here. Obviously attacking the g pawn directly, and also if you castle, h pawn falls, and there's a mate threat on the board, which is not nice. Black found probably the only good move here. Queen f6, and white decided to develop the queen side. Very good. They're probably going to have to play b3 at some point. But now obviously with queen f6, this diagonal becomes a concern as well. Alternatively, I guess they have to spin the move to move their rook over first, and then move out their dark square bishop somewhere. Normally in these situations, though, white would at some point play e4. They haven't, and they've also used up. They've also used their light square bishop attack already. So yeah, a little bit of a tricky situation of where to go. I think I don't know. Obviously, black's got a little tempo here on your queen. If the knight's over there, you know, it's hitting all your light squares. Thankfully, you've got a pawn over here taking care of that. So, although I said e4, maybe it's good not to move the pawn because now this f3 square will be permanently weak. Here's also obviously a nice jump. Maybe this is what white's looking at. Just to take out, I mean, if we trade off everything, white's a little bit better because of the pawn structure, although there's no passed pawn, so white would still have to go and attack one of the isolated pawns to actually make that advantage a little bit more real for themselves. Yeah, I don't know, don't know. Honestly, for the white side, I feel a little bit uncomfortable. I also noticed that white has moved very little time, used very little time. You know, we start with 45 minutes, you get 45 seconds. They've basically used the increment in a minute. Whereas black has used a bit more time, although that was also because they were in a worse position. So a little bit of a imbalance, but we've got so much time still. I don't think there's anything to worry about. I'm also just going to quickly check on the TV situation. I know that people said that there's another game somewhere. Oh, okay, hang on, 1 second. Black plays h5. h5. I did not see that. I guess they're scared to castle because after the knight jump, and you still have to defend things here, so maybe you have to go over here and then they trade. And then you've got no queens on the board and you still have isolated pawns. Yeah, and black basically just says, please trade me or I take your isolated pawn. And even if you trade me, I'm still attacking your isolated pawn. Although there's obviously a chance then for black to oppose. They can also kick the bishop if they really wanted. Oh, this is just a mess, sorry. If black takes and the bishop comes here, you know, there are some ways for black to retaliate. They also actually in that point would be able to take the b pawn, which might be good because they could also kind of dislocate this side of the board a little bit. Because actually a trade like this, I mean, that's basically equal then, right? There's zero difference except that we've got a fianchetto that's empty, if that's a way I can speak about it, and an extended h-pawn. Yeah, so in that case, actually, I think the game just goes flat back to zeros again. Indeed, indeed. Yeah, as you say, the c1 bishop getting stuck. I mean, this is the you know, the what did I say earlier? Like the power of the open file. Having an open file for a rook is something that I actually sometimes misjudge, you know, personally, because I don't quite value it, but then you realize things like this, like having pressure on a pawn is actually kind of valuable a lot of the time. Hey Jordan, thanks for coming past, man. I decided to try and put the YouTube chat into the stream, but as you can see, I would call this a bit of a fail. It's literally just the actual box, so it doesn't really look so nice. So I think that what you were able to do on your Twitch stream was a lot better. I'll have to see if YouTube can do a better version than this. I mean, I know obviously that YouTube's got a fine chat window right next to it, so I don't have to put anything in here, and specifically for games where the players are whispering, you'd probably want to hide that to watch their actual chat, but in a quiet game like this, I do prefer having everyone's kind of commentary visible. I think it's a little bit more interactive than just seeing it on the side of the screen. Yeah, Omar, as we were talking, like black could basically get rid of their weakness. It's just all back to zeros. Midnight in Australia. Oh, yeah, you're ahead of me, right? An hour and a half, though? That's a strange amount to be ahead. Wouldn't you be ahead an hour? Or two? Anyway, Spider, have a nice sleep. Drummer, have a nice sleep. Whichever version of your personality we're dealing with tonight. Have a good sleep that side. I do hope Australia, I'm kind of interested, but specifically New Zealand, I'd love to go visit. I'm also a big Lord of the Rings fan. I used to read the books when I was in school. It was one of the first massive English books I read, and I actually taught myself incorrect English because I didn't understand all the words, so I just kind of thought what the words were. I thought Boromir was actually an evil character for the whole book until the end, and I was like, wait, what? I thought he was one of the bad guys. Yeah, it was good times. Uh, yeah, man, it's a work in progress, Jordan, as you say. Okay, so actually, what we saw just happened. They did trade queens. White took back with the bishop, threatening the c pawn. Black saw that they could take the b pawn, and basically it's all zeros now, right? Um, yeah, as we said, like the slightly empty fianchetto for white is actually kind of nice. They get some luft for their king immediately. There's no light square bishops on the board left, so nothing's really going to get into that square to give much pressure. And black's got an extended h-pawn, which isn't specifically weak and can be defended with g6. And although that opens up more dark squares around their pawns and their king, same colored bishops, so I think, I don't know, I don't see white, magicking up an attack against the king side anytime soon. And both sides have one isolated pawn on the A file. I guess the one thing I would say is slightly different is long term, whoever pawns are on dark squares are the ones that can get attacked easier. So you either have access for your bishop, but you risk. You either have access for your bishop, um, but your opponent's bishop can run through your pawns, or you block up your own bishop, but you try to use your pawns in an aggressive way, but then obviously they are also able to be attacked by your opponent. And the other point being that where the pawn could eventually queen is obviously important. So if, for example, the a pawns were to queen, that's better for black because black can defend, or that black can force the promotion on a1 with the support of their dark square bishop, and white cannot support an a8 promotion with their dark square bishop, which means that if they promote, they would just lose whatever's on there if it was under attack. So in the late game, the kind of bishop you have often kind of dictates if your pawn run for a promotion will be successful or not. And I feel like my nose is closing up a little bit. It is very cold in Japan, and traditional homes are unfortunately not the most well insulated always. So as you can see, I'm wearing multiple layers. Let me see again what you guys are saying. I'm actually doing something different today. I'm just staring at OBS, so there's less arrows because I can read your chat here directly, which is kind of nice. Yeah, I could still go for h4. Yeah, I guess black could try and liquidate. I mean, if you get h4 and white doesn't react, if you take the pawn, white takes back with the h-pawn, and you open up the h-file for your rook without having to castle or move, which might be nice because you keep your king centralized and a little bit more active. But there's nothing specifically happening down the h-file, so you'd still have to coordinate with some other pieces, right? Now I would look at 17 knight a4. Okay, that would be... Okay, so we just had bishop takes c7, but you would have played knight... Yeah, actually, fair point. You could have traded off... the... Is there any way for black to avoid you taking their bishop? Yeah. Black could have let you take their bishop, but they could have also taken your e2 pawn, couldn't they? Let's actually just have a quick look at that. So the idea being that instead of taking the pawn over here, you just fork the bishop and the rook. The bishop is defended though, and so black could probably run over and take your e pawn, and then you take here and you take back, and then white could take the pawn here. In that case, black is up a pawn, but they have a bishop versus a knight. Would I take an extra pawn, but the knight instead of the bishop? In this game, I'm actually not sure if I would have wanted to do that. Yeah, I think if I was white, I would have been happy to lose the pawn for the bishop over the knight, because you could still go get that a pawn eventually the knight might struggle to coordinate well. It'd have to come onto an outpost here, but you could kick it at the right moment. So yeah, actually I think that was potentially a good move for white instead. Yeah, was that Val? Nice point, Val. I think that was maybe a nice idea. Okay, let's just get back to the game. Bishop B. Oh, sorry. Bishop B4, threatening the knight, which is defending the E2 pawn. Okay, we see it. We see it. Anything worthwhile you could do? You could defend the knight in some way. You could jump it somewhere to attack something else. But I guess this is... Well, actually, if you jump it up to B5, aren't you just attacking the pawn on that side? And if you attack it, can... if you attack it... Yes, I'm looking here, you know, so you jump here, and then if black tries to push it away, you could check. And again, you have this situation where you lose the pawn, but you might gain the bishop pair, and if they don't take, actually, it would have been nice if you could jump there, then because you could have forked the king and the pawn, but you can't, so it's a little bit tricky. What to do for white? Let me just check in again on what you guys are saying. H4, H3 can be really annoying for white later on. Yeah, Fabian, good point actually. So if white doesn't react and you don't take and you just push H3, that pawn isn't getting attacked anytime soon, takes away white's lift, and kind of forces their king to be a little bit more passive because it has to run out after you move the F pawn, for instance. Not necessarily a problem though. Again, that H3 move would have to be paired with rooks on your second rank or something else that can actually cause some problems, but it could definitely be a problem in some case. Crepona back rank issues. Yeah. That's definitely not an out of the question point, but I guess that black has found a different way to force the situation, right? Someone there. I mean, we were just talking about this, but in another line, white gets the same imbalance. They lose the knight, but they gain the dark square bishop as the only one on the board. They lose the knight and a pawn, but they gain the dark square bishop. I think it's actually not that bad a trade. So black does win a pawn, but they would have to prove that there's real value in that still. And make sure that their knight isn't kind of out of the game or too slow to react or do something useful. And just remember that they still haven't castled or moved their king at least off the back rank with, you know, king e7, so that other rook can come out. Rook c1, yeah, that's the thing, I guess. Rook ac1, ac1 drops the a pawn though. Actually, I'm not a fan of that at all. ac1, bishop takes, rook e2. I see rook. Jim, on your line, rook takes e2. If I was black there, I would have taken a2 instead to just get a clean pass on the a file. I feel like that's a little bit more dangerous. Bishop d6. Yeah, bishop d6 dangerous. You'd have to run your king sideways, I guess. King d8, rook fc1. Doubling up on the file. I see why you wanted to. Well, you didn't have to do that with your a rook, I guess, but I see what you meant actually. So I'm actually just going to quickly do this. Black does castle, still a good move. So in this case, Jim was thinking you go here, you trade, and then after they take your pawn, you put your bishop over, trapping the king, threatening mate. King comes over, rook comes over, threatening mate again. In that case, I guess you would be able to jump your knight to b6 to defend that square and also give your king a way to move around. It's tricky though. Tourne. Yeah, because then you could check on this file. So the king would only have one way to go, because you don't want to block with your knight. It's going to get taken. So the king would have to go back here, but then you're not coordinated anymore. So then you coordinate again on the other file. Could you force mate in that line anyway? Jim, I think that might be force mate anyway, hey, if I'm looking at this quickly now. That could have been quite ruthless. But I didn't like the idea of this because I thought black would just take this pawn. Although it's the same risk actually from what you just said. So pretty great line, well done. Alright, but black doesn't go for that, white doesn't go for that. Yeah, as black, maybe they saw that line, but in general I think this is not a specifically amazing trade for them. It's a nice threat, but yeah, I'm not a fan of giving away the dark square bishop just yet. It might be a little bit premature. And e3. So we saw earlier that e3 obviously weakens that f3 square as well as the d3 square, but I mean that's kind of an open file already, so I don't think that's too serious. Obviously this knight jump isn't directly possible, but I thought that this might give some complications. This is also a situation where maybe having that pawn over here would be quite good, because then the king would have to go super passive to defend the h-pawn or run away and give it away with check. Sorry, I'm making so many. If your knight was here and your bishop and your rook pawn was here, king's in check. If you go here, mega passive. If you run away, obviously the knight take gives you a check. So yeah, e3. I'm not the biggest fan of e3 either, to be honest. What would I have done? I know that they've continued, but I think in this case, you know, I don't know, I might even have just moved my king over. I don't know. It's not losing. It's just maybe not a pawn move I would have wanted to make, I guess. But I understand obviously why, trying to keep the pawn alive. Alright, e3, and black does take and trade. Now they don't win a pawn though. This is a trade, if I'm not mistaken, because if you go here, you threaten take with check and you defend, so trading off a pair of rooks. Is there a different way to make this go? Obviously, the obvious move here, you can't go this way because the knight takes it, so here, threatening the rook on that side and also defending your rook here. Black, I mean, black could make many moves, but it's basically a rook trade, one way or another, right? Oh, very interesting. So the reason I said you can't do that is you drop it, but obviously you're still threatening the check there first. So maybe I spoke a bit soon, because you would still get the check in. So that would actually be losing the exchange if you do what I thought black would do in this case. That's just dropping the exchange. So super equal game except for the minor piece imbalance at this point. Okay. Yeah, black did castle out of your scary line. Which I gotta say, actually, the longer I looked at it, the more it looked like force mate, so it's good for them to castle. I don't know if they looked all the way down it, but at least just figuring out their king is still sitting out in the open was probably a good thing. Lone Wolf game just ended. Didn't start like 45 minutes ago. That's very quick. Actually, in 15 minutes, there's another game starting up in the team league as well. But Jim, aren't you commentating with someone else soon? I don't know, what time are you guys thinking to start up your stream, by the way? You said that you were delaying, but I don't know up to when. I know that for me, like midnight afterwards, so in an hour or two, I think there's a few games that start up. I'm actually going to quickly pop over to the TV, just have a look here. Saying, yeah, so it's all like midnight. Oh man, at midnight for me, which is in an hour and 15 minutes, 5 games start. And then 2 more in another hour. You guys are going to have including Jordan's game. Check it out. Oh, no, wait. 777, that seems wrong. Doesn't he just have 2 sevens in his name? That seems incorrect. Does Jaggy have multiple 7s in his name? I thought he just had 2. Alright, I'm not sure. What is black looking at here? What else could you do? You could move out of the way with your rook. So you could, for instance, okay, never mind, you could have doubled up and threatened here. Okay, but they just take. And now in terms of where you keep your rook, I mean, you can move it to c2 to threaten the bishop and make it move, or you could drop it back to, let's say, I don't know, like b7 to defend your second rank. But you're already active, so I think maybe you just sit here. You know, white would probably end up moving their pawn up. And then now, the problem now with your imbalance in minor pieces is it's hard for you to defend your a pawn. You're probably going to have to put it on a white square. And then, I don't know, then I guess you just have to kind of keep it safe with your knight somewhere. So, okay, so I think maybe pawn here if it has to, if you can't get it all the way here. And you just defend it sideways, because your king is also way over here because you castled. If black didn't castle, could they have just moved up here? I mean, this is obviously covering that square. The knight would drop. Yeah, maybe not castling. Maybe this could have been good too. Sorry, I went quiet there for a little bit. Wait 1 second. Alright, just had to check. All good. Grandma is totally fine. No worries. Okay, take. And it is rook c2. I'm getting defensive, right? The ideas I looked at for black are all defensive, but I feel like they're a little bit on the back foot. Because I'm not sure how they can use the knight to make any clear advantage happen for them. They do have the outpost on e5, but it can get kicked. d5, sorry. And even if they get that spot, I don't really know what it does. So actually for them, maybe getting the knight onto knight f6 and white takes. If white doesn't take, you get knight e4 hitting the f pawn. And if it moves, I guess you have to jump somewhere else to threaten something else. But you could probably threaten something, so knight f6. Okay, so actually here my move for black would be knight c5. So trade me back the knight for the bishop, or let me put pressure on your f pawn, let me put pressure down your kingside pawns. We'll see how it goes. Black's yep, hopefully it goes well. We'll end our stream when Jordan's game ends. Oh yeah, nice. You guys are going to have a lot of games to go at the same time. Yesterday I was streaming, I did what, 5? I did like 3 games at the same time. That's already a lot, eh? There's so much to follow and to try and actually cover each game a little bit. 5 games is really intense. It's a little bit too much actually. You guys will have to kind of decide how to use your time effectively. But all the best. It's going to be a lot of fun for sure. And there's obviously going to be a lot to look at all the time. So that's really good. E5. E5. Val, E5 to push the bishop to take your pawn? What happens after that? Yeah, you guys should invite Jordan up for a little chat. That could be fun. Val, talk to me about your E5 situation. After you put E5, what happens then? They take your A2 pawn and something. Is it relaxing? I guess so. My nose is getting a bit stuffy, so I gotta be honest, it's more and more clear that I shouldn't be doing more than one game, so it's probably okay. Rook c7, e5 attacks, rook c7 attacking the bishop again. Ah, I see, because you're trapping it. I see. No, I got it. Well done. Very nicely done. And that's a great find, because once again, one of the points of a dominated knight is that the bishop would sit 3 squares away from it, right? Covering its squares. But in reverse, if the bishop is attacked there, it has to run away through those squares. Sure, guys, you are awake tonight. Definitely not me, eh? Okay, so Val, if I didn't play e5 there, if I played my knight c5 idea to try and get knight e4 in and pressure your kingside pawns, and white traded off my knight for my bishop, would you just go draw a greed and go home, or would you play on a lot, 5 pawns each, symmetrical structure with 1 rook? You've got the active rook. Do you feel that's worth playing still? I would always play on. But that's just kind of who I am. It's not really to do with if I think the position is a specifically strong one. I've lost sufficient games from blundering that I think my opponents can do the same. Easy enough to happen, right? Easy enough to happen. So, I don't know if anyone else didn't see here, Val's line here, because if you take the pawn, and then here, and then the bishop can't stay where it is, it can't be defended, it can't go here, or here, or here, or here, and you just drop it for a single pawn. Great line, goodness me. Carmody has just come onto the stream, after the game's actual chat, and he says, what? I've got a losing record against both of these players. I guess I'll root for ssyx because of d4. Alright, so Carmody, you're not a d4 lover, I take it. Big Pig and ssyx, I mean, I've seen them both, and I don't know if I'm butchering the ssyx pronunciation, but yeah, I don't think maybe I've played ssyx back in the day. I don't know. Big Pig, I'm not so sure. Jim, sorry, I just showed it, but I don't know. Did you get it? E5, and then if you take the pawn on A7, then after rook C7, your bishop has nowhere to go. And your knight is also your rook is also protecting your knight, so white can't attack your knight as a counter. I'm guessing you got it though. You're higher rated than me, so I'm assuming that you did see it after I said even one word, maybe, I'm not sure. In other news, Big Pig has still got 10 minutes on the clock, so not too bad for them. Oh cool, at least you guys can see people coming into the game. I've covered up the chat, unfortunately, but you can see the players coming in. Or maybe I should do like this. I don't know if this is really worth it, but what if I did like this? Because none of that is really necessary, right? Oh, but there hasn't actually been enough. Hasn't been enough chat inside the game to come out at the bottom. Because otherwise you could see the newest chats coming up. Not necessary. Never mind, moving on. Alright, Big Pig. Have to come up with an attacking strategy. Personally, I mean, okay, I just, off the top of my head, try and get a5 in, try and put my bishop on there, have them traded off, get my passed pawn. It's further ahead than black's. If they come from behind, I can take and defend it. If the king comes out too far, I can check him. After they take my pawn, I take their f pawn, and in that way I create an imbalance and I win a pawn. But that was literally off the top of my head. Obviously, I don't know if that would happen directly. Whoa, someone's suddenly spamming the reactions like crazy. Thank you. I think that matters. You guys would have to tell me if the reactions in the chat matter a lot, but I appreciate all of them. I think someone just kind of had a bit of a seizure on the reaction button there, but it was real nice to see. I came onto the OBS screen just in time to see it. Can I squish it so it's the same width as the leeches chat? I can cut it like this. I can do like this, right? I don't know if you type a very long sentence. Do you want to type a very long sentence, longer than you just said, and let's see if it runs out of the screen or if it goes to the bottom. There we go. I'm just going to reposition it a little bit here. And Japan winters are quite dry, so we're putting a tiny little humidifier in the room. This is a bit of a toy. It's a small one, but it's kind of cute. Oh, hey feet. My Italian brother from another mother. How you doing, man? What did I get for Christmas? Apparently a super healthy baby and a happy wife. And we went looking at some baby stuff. So, yeah, that was basically the main point around Christmas this year. Is just spending time getting ready for next year. So yeah, pretty excited for all of that, hey? Hang on. Okay, the quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog, the quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog, and I can't actually see. It did cut off, didn't it? Okay, but you had to type really long for it to cut off, so probably that's not too bad, hey? Oh, Val, thanks for coming past, man. I appreciate you coming past, having a bit of a chat, and actually spending a bit of brain power. You found some nice points during the game. Thanks for sharing those as well. And I hope that you come past again. And at some point, get on someone's stream and have a chat, man. It's always good to be more than one person streaming. It's kind of fun. I wonder who had that interaction insanity run. I don't know, man. That feels like it might be some kind of Italiano. Oh, I feel like I should make some kind of Mario reference with the voice. How does the Mario voice go in the game? I'm a Mario. I guess that's the best I've got. But anyway, thanks for coming past, Feet. I hope you're doing good. I don't know. You seem to always be playing everything. If it's not a team league, it's a lone wolf or it's a blitz battle. So I'm guessing you've got some games going or OTB. There's so much chess in your life. I'm just gonna get back at the game for 1 second because I see that there was the A6 move and Big Pig is still thinking. Nope, I stand by it. I feel like you push your pawn up, and if they go here, you can try and attack it maybe. I don't know. I guess it's difficult to attack. Otherwise, you can just spend some time. Just make a move like that. Make a move like this, or just start walking your king up a little bit. I wouldn't hate having my king walked up a bit further. Get a bit active. That could be good, right? Nothing wrong with a little active king, right? How bad was my super stereotypical Italian accent? Does it get me banned or somehow like crucified on the cultural banhammer situation? Oh yeah, Val's got a game later. Nice, man. I hope their game goes good. Uh, do Japanese people understand what Mario is saying? I mean, I gotta be honest. When I watched the Mario movie, was it this year or last year? I didn't even understand all the words that clearly. But maybe it's because these days I feel like movies have really bad balance between dialogue and the rest of the sounds. So maybe it's just me. I'm not sure. It is. It's our combination, hey? Luigi. So would you be Mario or Luigi then? I guess. I'm happy to be either one. They both seem interesting. Mario's the main guy, so maybe that's you. I'll be the Luigi one. Oh, Saturnitus. I feel like I play them this season. I feel like I played Saturnitus earlier this season actually already. Alright, but Big Pig is having a big thing, so ssyx has obviously been able to stump them a bit on what their next plan is supposed to be. Give me 2 seconds here. Alright, bit of a mood shift, guys. Oh, this is rough. I don't know if you can see me at all. Maybe I'll do like this. It's getting closer to bedtime, so I'm going to keep going for a little bit longer because this is fun. But if this game continues for a fair bit more, I might... This is turning into a bit of a comedy stream, sorry. After my Mario, and now I'm doing the stereotypical aggressive scary face with the light underneath my face. Oh yeah, this is Halloween now all of a sudden, sorry. I don't even know why. Anyway, as I was saying, it's getting a little bit closer to bedtime, so I'm going to be around for a bit longer, but at some point I think I might call it a day. So we'll see if the game is still going at that point, and if it is, I'm going to have to say apologies, but I do have an intention to stream proper full games again. Tonight was a bit more to test this chat and see how incredibly bad it is. Halloween Flippy sounds pretty good though. That's not too bad, right? Yeah, I'm literally using my phone now to put some light on my face. Can't you see? It's a bit of a silly one, but I hope it works. Maybe I'll do like this. This is a strange way to light up my face, but it's a little bit more comfortable. Yeah, I guess White realized... Oh, hang on, is it? Okay, hang on. I'm actually just going to pop across quick kick, big whip, running out of squares in any case. Oh, okay, cool. My bishop is actually dangerously close to being trapped, I think. Yeah, big is realizing that. It's running out of squares in any case. But this maybe holds, I'm not sure. Okay, trying to defend it. Throwing the pawn away. Interesting. Okay, so actually let's just look at this a little bit. Rook d1. Throwing the a pawn away. Yeah, I guess... Yeah, I guess it's difficult. They could have lost their e-pawn as well instead. Yeah, it's a bit of a trick. Bishop g7 is a threat. German, as you say, taking a pawn, opening up against the knight. You could put the knight somewhere else, I guess. Behind your... I'm still a big fan of knight e4 for black. So if they can make that happen anyway, I think that would be pretty good. For anyone who can't see it on the stream, I'm actually just going to hide this live chat for a second so you can see. There is big saying that they realize that their bishop is running out of squares, so a little bit of a concern. This Halloween face is silly. Yeah, okay, and actually I do believe another game has started, so I'm not actually going to watch all of that. As I said, I don't know if I can even finish this game, but just to let you know... Oh, it hasn't started yet, but Vig Press is playing far. And the game should start in a second. It doesn't seem to have started just yet, but it should start very soon. Ssyx trying to find the win. So in this case, I guess... the bishop can fall back to a1 after e5. You could take, but it's not really worth it. What else could you do? e5, bishop a7, rook c7, right? So this is the thing, and then the bishop has no squares, but you could actually go to b7, because if the knight takes, you can fork the back rank, and oopsie daisy, and you can take the knight, so that would still be an equal trade. In that case, who is better? Well, I guess black would still be better a little bit, because they can come and attack your a-pawn immediately, and you can't defend it, so you would have to attack one of their pawns, but they could take both. Anyway, black decides not to go for any of that complication. They just take the a2 pawn, gives them a clean passer. They still have the worst minor piece though, especially for the late game. Oh, and white goes straight for this find. Takes the g-pawn, takes the knight. So equal endgame, but imbalance in the pawn structure. Black has a passer on the a file. White has an extra pawn on the king side. That extra pawn is going to mean nothing until they start moving though, and because both kings are there, it's actually a fairly protected section. So white needs to find a way to... Well, an obvious point is obviously that you can put your rook behind the passed pawn and just kind of keep the pressure up. You'd also be pressuring the back of the back rank as well, but I would say in this case, no immediate reason to do that. Probably get the king up. If this pawn starts moving, you can always put your rook back there. Yeah, and black's rook, although it's pressure on the back file, you know, you can run your king all the way up here to the f3 square before anything has to happen. Unfortunately, at that point, it's very difficult to move further. I guess you'd have to kind of play like this, because you need to make a square for your king on the third row to protect the pawn and let it move. Oh, interesting game. I actually really like this imbalance. It's turning out to be quite an interesting situation versus the very drawish situation we saw earlier. Just Gagman, serious. Tom is getting string up. Oh, great. If you guys start, so Jim, if you can let me know as soon as you guys start, I would actually say drop your stream URL into the chat here, as well as on Slack and everywhere else, and then I'll sign off and everyone can just move across and continue joining with you guys, and I will go You should watch Prognanta Mursin's game. Very hard to lose this. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to going into any of the top level games today. There's enough drama going on there. I prefer the low drama chess. Not the biggest fan of all of that stuff. Goodness me. I honestly feel sometimes that people really just look for the drama to kind of build their public persona or visibility. A lot of it doesn't seem necessary. I also think sometimes FIDE is just absolutely full of shit. Goodness me. This time less so with the genes, but in the past with like some woman getting fined or excluded from a tournament because she did or didn't wear the right headgear or shoes, or there's some crazy stuff, like really like seems kind of extensively unnecessary rules on um, dress code. Anyway, um, oh, okay, cool, Jim, no worries. Sure enough, I'm happy to post the link. I actually didn't know that you can't post a link in the live chat, so apologies for me. Big Pig, again, as I said, I think you just play King G2, just get the king in there. Okay, H5 first. Yeah, okay. I guess that's fine too. White got mated by Black's king on F1. Oh my goodness. Oh, wait. I've heard about this game. I saw a comment someone saying about an amazing king walk. Okay, cool. Very interesting. Alright, Jim, I'm clear. So let me know when you guys are up. I think I'm gonna go in a second as well. My legs are actually getting sore. I've been sitting cross-legged all the time. Oh, cool. Actually, a little bit in the background, just a bit of Japanese culture. Here's the shrine. Every traditional home has a shrine where you can say a prayer to your ancestors, the family who have passed away, and so on. So you can't see the detail there, and we're not going to go into a big cultural tour, but that's kind of what the light in the background is. That's kind of nice. That's correct, right? I said the right thing, right? About what this right about it. Quick king lakla. Okay, go on. Alright. I'm really just hoping for these guys. I don't know if these positions call for this much thinking. Am I just being a bit impatient? I probably am. My legs kind of starting to hurt now, to be honest. Yeah, let's see. Neko also streams with the samurai sword. Damn, I didn't know that. Neko's badass. Samurai sword, katana style? Goodness me. That's pretty cool. Hello. We're getting reaction seizures again. Guys, throw those reactions, throw those likes, throw those subs, all those cool things. This is not really the stream for that, but obviously I should say that, right? Catch us next on THB. What's the... Anyway, there's a Japanese channel. I don't fully remember the name. Let's go back to the game for a second. Ssyx for black. Let me just stretch out my legs here for a second. So, clear thing that they can do, they can start running their passed pawn. Absolutely fine with that. It's hard for them to really get... Okay, yeah, I was going to say, they can slowly start moving the kingside pawns as well. But it is a bit hard to get things moving too much. Although, I don't know if I would have minded them playing F5, because basically they need their king to be able to come into the squares next to the pawns, right? So, if not E5, then F5 has to happen for the king to be able to make any progress here. And I do think that black is going to want their king to make some kind of progress, because they can't win without it being further into the game. Tournaire. And again, for Big Pig, I just really think this king should start moving. Sorry. The earthquake is because the laptop is on some pillows on top of my legs, because I'm actually sitting in my futon bed. So it moves when I try to stretch out my legs, which have gotten a bit uncomfortable after 1 hour of sitting cross-leg streaming. Goodness me. Yeah, there we go. King up. I don't think there was anything to think about there. Probably could have done that move a bit faster. They probably were also wondering about how to move the F-pawn. As I said earlier, I think they're going to have to move they can move their king up first, but then they might have to play like e3 to just kind of make sorry, e4 to make king e3 possible, which they can't block with their rook, because black would basically win this if the rooks come off the board. Black wins, right? Because white has to walk all the way to the queen side to take care of the last pawn, and black could break through the pawns on the king side in that case, I'm guessing. Alright, good. Jim, you guys are live, so let me quickly just put the link in here, guys. Everyone, thanks for joining. Always appreciate having a stream going with a few people chatting. Love the fact that all of you guys have come past to join, and please go ahead and join Jim and just Chess Runner on Twitch. They are going to continue the evening as it is bedtime here, and they are going to be live with all of the games that are coming up in the near future now. So 1 second, I go over to my chat, I find no stream link, absolutely no stream link. Guys, can I get a stream link somewhere? Jim, no, Chess Runner on Twitch, I get that, but give me a link so I can post it. So send me a link on in the 4545 channel. Tell Chess Runner to post his Twitch link there so I can put it in here, and then I will drop out. And in the meantime, for ssyx, yeah, as I said, I think e5 or f5 is, they have to move a pawn, their king can't do anything useful. They have to move a pawn to move the king in, or they can move their passed pawn down further. And actually this is something that doesn't work on the back, on the second row. It works on the last row, right, where you can get a check in and then promote if your, what am I saying, if your rook was in the way because it was from defending from the front. Okay, once again just double checking. Here we go. Okay, got it. Good stuff. Copy that. Alright, so I'm dropping this in here, guys. Please go over to their stream, continue enjoying, and thanks so much for coming past. See you guys all again. I will take this incredibly terrible YouTube live chat off of the stream for next time and try and fix it up again. This is Halloween Flippy, just after Christmas. See y'all next time. Bye bye.